this video, I'll be building a navigation for my app using SwiftUI. I decided to go with a minimalist approach in which the user has to hover on the left side of the app in order to switch between screens. Now, before I begin, it's important to understand why we go in this direction. We could have had a sidebar like most Mac apps where it's stuck on the left and you can collapse it through a specific button. But what we want is to have the user focus on what it's in front of them rather than being distracted by other parts of the app. With all that said, let's get started. We begin by creating a view that we'll place in our layout. Our sidebar view is going to be composed of an invisible area that is going to trigger the actual visibility of the sidebar itself, and a visual indicator. Let's start with the visual indicator. Now, this is looking a bit too prominent, so let's make it a tiny bit more subtle, and let's add a red background to the container so that we can keep track of all the interactive areas of the sidebar. Looking better? I think we're finally ready to start placing the actual surface of the sidebar. And while we're at it, let's add the state and the corresponding event that will help us trigger the interaction that we want. Oops, looks like all elements are centered with each other. Let's make them left aligned, or how Apple likes to call them, leading. We might as well use our state to set up how the sidebar is going to look like when it's hovered and not hovered. You want to see something nice? By simply wrapping our state change in a with animation function, we automatically get animated transition from all the values that depend on our state. In other words, the sidebar goes from completely transparent to fully opaque, and its position goes from -100 to 0. Now that we're done with the main functionality, let's give this sidebar a little bit more love by adding some shadow. This is looking good, but I'm thinking the corners don't really match what I have on the designs, so let's make them a little bit smoother. Although we're matching the design more closely, I'm starting to realize that this animation is a little bit slow, and this can be annoying if you want to switch context quickly. Luckily for me, changing animations in SwiftUI is as easy as creating them. We can tweak the type of animation that we want as well as the duration. Let's go with 200 milliseconds and work our way up if necessary. This is a subtle but important improvement to the user experience. Now that's a wrap for this video. Stay tuned for the next one where I'll cover the rest of the navigation.